Hello everyone, Joel here from Parea. Today I wanted to demo how we can use the test hub on our platform. So right now I'm in the lab, and let's say I want to have a prompt for Twitter sentiment analysis. So I'll write this prompt, let's say determine the sentiment of the following tweet. Right? And here I have tweet, which is a variable in double curly braces. You must respond with one of the following sentiments. Okay? And the sentiments are going to be negative, positive, or neutral. So now that I have my prompt, I want to run it against a series of tests. And so I realized on Kaggle, there was a Twitter sentiment training data set. So what I've done is I've exported that as a CSV. You can see we have the first column is the tweet, and tweet matches the variable that we defined for our prompt. We have a target column, which defines what the expected answer should be. And then we have an optional tags column. And this allows us to just add any metadata that we want. So here, for example, I think this is going to be a hard one, and I wanted to identify that it has like a link. And so that may be weird. Whereas, for example, this might be an easy one. And so let's get this into Parea. First, we're going to go to the test hub. Okay, I'm going to save my space here. I'm going to go to the test hub. I'm going to click upload a file. This is going to be Twitter sentiment. All right. I'm going to find the file that we had, a CSV, and I'm going to click open. And what we'll see here is that it automatically identifies the columns we had. Tweet is our variable. We have two reserved keywords, target and tags, and those are auto-imported when they're found in CSV. So let's create our test collection. So now we have on the platform, the collection, the same thing that we saw in Google Docs. All right, we can see our tags as well. All right, and we can add tags if we wanted to. And so how can we use this? So let's go back to the lab. So now that we're back in the lab, we'll reopen the Twitter sentiment analysis tab that we had. And I'm going to add that test case. So here it is. I'll import it. And we have all of our 9 cases selected. So I'll just import all of them. And we don't need this first column. So now that we have those, we have the tweet, we have the target, we can run a comparison against our prompts. So let's run compare against all 9 cases. And that's going to save quickly. So now we have the outputs for GPT 3.5. But I realized that actually I want to make an evaluation function to score this for me so I don't have to look at it, each one at a time. So let's do that. So we'll go back to the test hub. And we'll come here to the evaluation metrics section, and we'll click add function eval. So we're not going to need these. So let's start to type in our eval function. So all we want to do is return a float between 0 and 1. Inputs are going to be our prompt, right? And the inputs to our prompt. Outputs are going to be what the model responded, and target is what we defined in our test case. And so all we want to do here is say target in output, right? So if the target's in the output, it's going to be a 1, and that will be turned to a float. And if not, it'll be false, and then we turn to 0. Twitter eval. So let's create that metric. So now we have a Twitter eval metric. We can go back to the lab, go back to our Twitter sentiment analysis, and now we can import that eval. So we got Twitter eval, let's set that, and now we can run the eval on everyone. So that's going to run on everything, and we have a score of 67%. So we can see here that those are right, but here the model thinks it's neutral when it should have been positive. So I'm actually curious, how did it score on all of our hard questions? I can actually filter by our tags. So it had a 60% on the hard questions. I can filter easy, and had a 75% on the easy questions. So that's just a little example of how you can use Parea Test Hub to do sentiment analysis.